Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hello, everybody. It's Sir Walter of the Sir Walter Jones Show. I am he. It is. What is today? Thursday. It's the evening edition, baby. Today is April. I'm losing time. April 27th, 2017. Let's talk about this. Where do men hide their pain? All right. Shout out to you, Sherry Tubbson and Decor and the rest of you who are chiming in here. Marcel, Dr. Marcel. Yeah. Where do men hide their pain? If you ask 5 men where do they hide their pain, a couple of them will say we don't hide our pain. We let the world know that we're in pain. Well, they are right. They do let the world know that they are in pain, but they do hide it. They themselves hide their pain, and the world sees their pain, but they think they're hiding it. Yeah. Hey, boy. All right now. All right, I see all my good friends here. Kimberly and Howie and the rest of you. Yeah, men cry. We have pain. The ladies see it and they act upon it in negative ways. All right. Ladies have pain and struggle and they cry. But they have the advantage over men because ladies have a support system already in place. It's always there for them to reach out and grab it. A girl gets pregnant in church by a musician or a deacon or a preacher or somebody, okay? She initially goes through the shame of the pregnancy. She's put out there on the open. Sometimes she's embarrassed by the ministry. She's got to apologize to the church. She can't sing in the choir for 9 months, all right? Okay, as long as the baby is growing in her, she's in sin for 9 months. Go figure. Okay? So, she goes through that shame, but then what happens is there are people in place, whether they are designated to be in place or they self-choose themselves to help this girl through this time of pain and embarrassment and what have you, and they restore. She gets phone calls. She might get some visits. Okay, they take her places. All right, when they're going to have a baby shower for her, they're going to do all that they can. See, because she went through the initial embarrassment and calling her these words and making her feel like she's some type of harlot, hoe, or prostitute. They made her, okay, but then there's that other side that picks her up and supports her and financially, morally, spiritually. The man, he's ignored. He's able to get back up and do what he do. A lot of times, he's crying, he's in pain in himself because he knows what people are thinking or saying about him. They just won't say it to him. See, it's easy when I pick up the phone and talk about this guy. He may never know that I said these things about him. All right? But he's thinking in his mind. He's been thinking. That they're talking about me. But it's hard for him because he's got to continue to work or do ministry or whatever he do. He got to continue. But he know. And every now and then he gets in his ear. He hears that somebody said something about him. But he just keeps focused. And he just continues. The ladies, different story. They approach the hearsays and the scandals and the gossip. Right? They can be confrontive with it. The men, not so much. You see, when a man becomes a predator, he's already hurt. He's hurting. You're like, how's that possible? Y'all say it all the time that hurt people hurt people. The mother's board, when they act crazy and they say some things about to y'all, they hurting too. The preacher over the pulpit, and when he preached the way he do, he hurting. The musician is hurting. The girl that got pregnant is hurting. Church hurt is everywhere. House hurt is prevalent. Job hurt. School hurt. Bank hurt. Grocery store hurt. We don't call it those things. We just call it church hurt. Although we get hurt in every other place. It just seemed like it appeared, and it's a heavier hurt when home hurt you and church hurt you, because that's family. So it hurts more. When a stranger hurt you, you can get over that because you may never ever see that person again. Okay? But these men who act the way they do, they've been hurt. And you got to go back into their past to find out how did they get hurt, why did they get hurt, and why are they keeping that inside. It's not that easy to get that out of a man. So women can be clever. They can be cunning. And they find wonderful creative ways to get a man to talk. That's the woman who's tapped in spiritually, who's got a discerning of spirit, okay? Who knows the makeup of that guy, the inner workings of him. She know how to do it. The other ladies, not so much. So he clams up. That's the word. All right. And so he has internal plumbing issues. All right. So where does he release that psst? Where do he cry? Well, let me tell you. Here's where men hide their pain. Both the saved man and the unsaved man. It don't matter what he is. He's a man. He was built with testosterone. God sold a penis on him, all right? Okay, so if you need children out there, go to bed, all right? And he pumped this stuff in him, and man is always sprouting out. He is the chaser, okay? He feels the thrill of the chase, and if you take that physiological instinct away from him, then the adverse effect that happens is that his equilibrium is off. He trips and he stumbles. He may have I don't know. He begins to act it out in different ways. It's painful for him when you start or you hold him back when he was created to do a certain thing. I don't care if it's sexually. I don't care if it's physically. Whether it's in sports, academic, or something. You hold that back from him, then he acts it out in different ways. For instance, if a person is blind, then what happens is another part of that person's body gets stronger. It doubles or triples, okay, in sensitivity. So what happens to a blind man? His ears is absolutely sharp. All right, it's the Stevie Wonder effect, I guess you can call it. And they hear things, they can almost hear like a dog, okay, hears, all right, because they're missing something, so they have to make up for it, their ears. A person who's deaf, of course, is the reverse. They use their eyes and they have great vision and things like this, all right? So men, we have to make up for this pain. Some men find their pain, or they hide their pain in, of course, alcohol, liquor, whiskey, and wine, and beer, okay, spirits, they all call it. They hide it there. I don't care what their walk is with Christ. Many of them hide it there because it seems like it's safe to hide it there. And they don't have to go to the bar, all right? They don't have to go to the club. They don't have to go to the pub. They can do it at home, where they're free to do that, and they can get drunk and just. I can't tell you how many times I've been to church, and I shook a brother's hand or gave him a hug, and I smelt malt liquor on his breath, or you can smell it smell it in his skin. It reeks out of his skin, okay, because he's hiding his pain. He hides his pain in his bottle. His bottle is his best friend. And many times if he is a church goer, his wife struggles with this. She's at church and he's at home drowning his sorrows. He hides it in his pain, and that is something that we kind of all know. We see it written in movies and television shows, and that's just the way it is. And we have to get help because he's addicted to it because he don't know where to put this pain in another safe place. He wants to find it in you, the lady, but unfortunately, because you have not been raised up properly, all right, because the book of Titus helps you understand the role of the mothers are supposed to teach the young women how to love their husbands and do other things. But because the young ladies today aren't being raised, because y'all killed off the mother's board, she gets married to this guy. He's in pain. She don't know how to get him to express this pain, and then he goes and hide that pain in the bottle. Now she's got to go through the issue of maybe him getting intoxicated and using his fisticuff to solve his problems. And that would be number 5, actually. So let's go to number 1, liquor, all right, alcohol. And I'm not against alcohol, all right, because I think, we keep hearing about the medicinal purposes of even wine and red wine being good for the heart and the blood, all right? So that's not what I'm talking about. Intoxication, that's why in Scripture, when you hear about alcohol, it talks about drinking it in excess, all right? Number 2, he hides his pain in pornography, and I'm going to put these 3 together: pornography, prostitution, and women. Okay? He hides his pain in there. I can do a show and never ever finish talking about it. I can do a show for 9 hours and still not be done with it. A man who is in pain because of what happened to him coming up, something might have happened sexually. And the sexual thing that happened to him doesn't mean that someone molested him or raped him. That doesn't necessarily mean that. Some man may have molested, these guys are molesting these boys. That may not be the issue. It could be a woman who opened up his portal, all right, and then she walked away. Now his portal is open, and then now he's trying to get that first high, like a drug taker, okay, a drug addict. Get that first high, and they spend the rest of their lives almost trying to find that first high. They want that same experience. So if his body was opened up early by a woman, okay, he might have been 13, 14, 15. He was in grammar school or high school. His body got woke up prematurely. Now he's looking, okay. He's trying to replay that moment. It's like a wet dream. All right, for you men out there, you ever had one? Okay, most of you probably did. I remember my wet dream. All right, it wasn't pretty. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it didn't feel good, but sleep, have this sex dream, and wake up, and there's spillage, and you try to figure out, wow, how did that happen, and can it happen again? Okay, Kimberly, yeah, I know you get it now, can you? All right, so the ladies, high school girls, grammar school girls, they're being developed so fast nowadays. I mean, you look at these girls now at 14, they look like they're 21, 25, 30. All right? So these boys see this body, this figure that he saw on the TV, that he saw on the internet, and bam, they come together. She wakes him up, and now he's looking for more of that. She may walk away. Who was that? That was Sir Walter. At the age of 16. Oh, it might have been 15. Body got woke up by a girl, high school. All right, she took my virginity, and once I woke up, I went looking for the same woman to do that again, and she went missing. All right, never to see her again. So what's going on now? I'm open like a wound on a surgical table, and the doctors walk away. All right, so I'm wide open, and now it's like I can't find her, so I have to find someone else to satisfy that first high. And I went looking all over to try to find that, and you're never satisfied with it. Okay, so then what he does is he finds it in pornography. Now, we didn't have the internet like we do now. So he went and found a Hustler magazine. He went and found Penthouse magazine. He went and found Playboy magazine. Okay, he found these magazines. They were at those outdoor newsstands. Okay, they had a little disguise on them, but you know, it didn't matter what your age was. These little nasty store owners, they just sold it to you because they just wanted the money. You gave them $1 or so. I can't remember how much they were then, and you started buying them one by one, and you took them home and hid them up under your mattress. And then you found solace, okay? You found pleasure in the magazine. But then it became painful for men because it was always an emptiness. When he finished what he did in those magazines, there was an emptiness. He always feel empty because he really wanted the real McCoy. So the porn industry, understand that, they begin to make these dolls and toys and all these things to try to temporarily satisfy that man's pressure, pain. So he hides his pain because if he's with a woman, she had taken him through a whole lot of sexual, non-sexual experiences. He's thinking sexual, she's not. So she takes him through this triangle, okay, and he's not satisfied. So he finds it on the computer at 1 o'clock in the morning when she's asleep. Okay, pornography. When that's not enough, because it's never is enough, he leaves the house and he goes and finds a prostitute. Right now, either he'll find one on the street corner in a particular neighborhood, or he will find a escort. Okay, now he's gonna pay some money. He's gonna save that money up. He's gonna hide it from her, his girl, his wife, will have you. He's been putting it away because, you know, then it's like a drug. You're never satisfied. So he tries to express his pain. He can't tell her about his pain because she don't know what to do with it. In his mind, she fusses, she fights with him, and she makes him feel less than a man, so he can't tell her his pain. But he will show the bartender or the prostitute his pain. Okay? And lastly, he is promiscuous when he's having sex with as many people as he can find. All right? And that's how he expresses his pain as well, with various women, and he don't care about any of them. Okay? He expresses that through that. That's number 2. So number 1 is liquor or alcohol. Number 2 is sex, prostitution, pornography, you know, what have you. Number 3, of course, he hides it in entertainment. Christine says Jesus wept, and so can a brother. They are not too strong to cry. Yeah? You are so right, Christine. You nailed it. You nailed it there. I love that. Number 3, he hides it in entertainment. Sports. Okay? He sits there, and sports becomes his woman. Just like that bottle becomes his woman. Okay? To children, it might be a gang. The gang becomes his family. He feels like the gang, he can identify with the gang. They identify with him more so than his own parents or brothers or sisters. Okay? So he watches sports all around the clock, all week long, because he really, men, I need you to know, ladies, are very emotional. That is the misnomer. I think that's the word. Many women out there think that men are not emotional, but on the contrary, men are very emotional. He just shows it a different way than you do. See, that's why he's not in your church. He can't take all of the jumping up and down and falling out and foaming and speaking in tongues and just getting and all the emotion and the crying. He can't take that. That's not how a man shows his emotion. All right? He don't. Not the average guy. He won't do that. No. But sit with him on the couch and watch him watch sports. Watch him watch NASCAR. Okay? His favorite show. And you will see his emotion. Take him somewhere where you know that he really, really likes. I don't care if it's a Comic-Con, if he's in the nerd like that. Take him to the movie, or take him to go buy a brand new item that he desires, whether it's a golf club or some golf balls or a brand new car, and watch his expression. Okay? And he may not be all giddy like the lady, but he shows his emotion in different ways. Okay? And you watch how he treats that car. And ladies, he treats his car better than he treats you, because he feels that his car treats him better than you treat him. And I made this analogy before on last week's video. I talked about how R. Kelly have a song that women hate. It's called "You Remind Me of My Jeep." Came out many years ago, okay? And women found it, some women, and many women found it offensive. But I understood it right away, because what I could only compare it to is in Scripture, when Solomon was trying to court the Shulamite woman, and he began to use words of comparison, and he said that I have compared thee to Pharaoh's chariots. Pharaoh's chariots was like R. Kelly's Jeep. The greatest chariots in that region was Pharaoh's chariots. And can you ever seen Clydesdale's horses, how beautiful they are with the fur going all the way down to their shoes? It's just amazing. And I can imagine that chariots is gold plated and all kind of precious metals, okay, was on that chariot. And Solomon, the only way he can express his desire in words to this woman is by comparing her to an object. R. Kelly did that with "You Remind Me of My Jeep" that I wash every day. I look out my window to make sure ain't nobody trying to break into it. I put the most expensive alarm on it, okay? I put the club on it. I put all these things on it, and I have the best insurance, State Farm, okay? Because I put my value in that, all right? So he hides himself, a man, in that which he finds precious, and that might be entertainment, that might be sports, that might be his car, okay, or something like that. That's where he hides his pain, and you will also see his joy in there as well. But when you think about sex, his expression during sex is how you see his joy a lot. How you see his joy a lot. So number 1 is liquor, number 2 is pornography, number 3 sports, number 4 he hides his pain in religion. Yeah, in religion. He's religious. Even if he says I hate religion, everybody's religious. Everybody is religious. And it's that thing that you do over and over again, whether it's hourly or daily or weekly or monthly or yearly, we all are religious. And men who are Christian men especially, they hide their pain in religion. Many of your pastors, evangelists, and elders and ministers, okay, that is affiliated with your church, they have pain. And the pain of what they're not getting at home, they take it to church and they express it, or they practice it, or they show their pain in church. That's why they act the way they do in church. Because the woman at home ain't listening to him. And she might be at church with him. They came to church, maybe not together, maybe in 2 cars. But when they're at home, they sleep in separate beds. And if they sleep in the same bed, she way on the edge and he way on the other edge. They don't talk to each other. All right? And how he in the west wing and she in the east wing, or he in the basement, in the dungeon, which was another place where he hide his pain, is in the man cave. Okay? But what's on in the man cave? Number 3, his entertainment. That's how he expresses pain. Okay? So he comes to church, and he expresses it through, it could be the way his preaching style, it could be his music, because we musicians, we sure enough hide our pain in our music. If you, the most, listen to the most, the Grammy-nominated songs, okay? The greatest songs ever written. When you hear them, listen to the pain in it. Even if it's a love song, you hear some pain in there. Even if it's a song of joy and happiness, you're going to hear some pain in there, okay? Because it'll start off with the pain, all right? And then it may end off in happiness. But when he gets through, he's still thinking about that pain. So he hides it there. You see, Jesus and the disciples had a place where they went to express their pain. It's called the Garden of Gethsemane. They did a lot of work out there. They traveled to and fro, 2 by 2, 4 by 4. They went into only the household of Israel. Jesus told them to do that. But trust me, they got rejected. And Jesus told them, listen, he had an answer for that. He says, just wipe the dust from your sandals or your feet and just keep walking to the next door. All right? Trust me, they had pain. Jesus himself, it is obvious that he did as well, because when he retreated to the garden, he went to fast. And after he fasted, Satan came to wreak more havoc in his life, to put more pain on him. And after they went through that ordeal, then what happened? The angels had to show up for Jesus. And the Bible says that the angels came and ministered to him. Who are the angels in men's lives today? Who are they? Because he is trying to find those angels, and he's trying to find them in 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. He thinks, without these items, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because he can't cry in front of you. How dare you ask him to cry in front of you? Number 5 is fights. It is obvious that a man hides his pain in his fights. You say one wrong word, you can say a right word, and he's fighting. Some men purposely will stir up a fight with you because he don't like you. He's living in bondage at home. He's a stranger in his own home. If you guys might be married, and he fell out of love with you, but he can't tell you, so he's in pain. Because he's in pain because he don't want to hurt you by telling you the truth. So the pain stays in here. So what does he do? He starts a fight. Yep, lady. Sabotage. He sabotages that relationship because he don't know how to tell you the truth. That I don't want this anymore. Because men have hearts. They have feelings. They bleed as just like you guys do. They have menstrual cycles. They sure do. And when my wife got pregnant with my firstborn, I was going through the sickness as much as she was. I was having morning sickness. Come on. All right? So he fights with her. Why? It may not be anything that she did. She didn't do anything. She was not worthy. It doesn't justify him fighting her, but he's got to pick on somebody, and he picks on somebody that he can. He bullies his woman. Okay? He does that. And it could have stemmed when he was 14. It could have happened. Men vent instead of crying. Yep, that's right, Harris. We vent. It could have happened when that girl took his virginity, and he never, ever turned his face to his face and faced it and talked about it. All right? He couldn't find a brother to talk to because the brother might laugh, might make him feel inadequate, might make him feel less than a man. You see, the reason why I got in trouble many years ago is because I didn't have nobody to talk to. You see, everybody was pulling on me as this strong man, this outgoing man, this sociable man. I was helping everybody. If somebody needed an answer, they contacted Sir Walter. Somebody needed a bailout financially, they contacted Sir Walter. If they needed a ride, they contacted me. They needed somebody to encourage them because their mama and daddy died or something like that. They needed some music. They needed somebody me to write. They contacted me. All right? So that's what I got. So if I walk in the room, I was like E.F. Hutton. Sir Walter's here. We're good now. We're safe. It's like a child when the father comes home. Now he feels safe. Okay? So when I needed help, though, when the chips are down, I couldn't go to those same people. Now, they would have helped me. So it's not their fault. It's my fault because I was placed so high on the pedestal. How do I go down to my subordinates, the people who celebrate me? How do I go down? It's easy to go up and ask for help, but how do you go down and ask for help? It's difficult for many men to do that. They can't. That's why I said all pastors need to have another pastor. All bishops should have another bishop. All apostles should have another apostle. All bosses should have another boss. There's everybody out there should have someone, all the way up to the President of the United States, who feels that he's over everybody. But he himself have advisors. He don't know it all. So every president need to have another president. Okay? So it was difficult to pull from those who I was feeding. Now I need you to feed me. Here in Chicago, they have what's called a place where they donate foods, the Chicago Food Depository. Right around 2008, right when this whole financial bubble happened. Prior to that, people, upper middle class people, rich and some of the poor, they were donating food products to the food depository. Oh man, by the tons. So the depository was able to just feed the hungry and supply many of the homeless shelters and the orphanages and helping some of the churches with their food programs. Okay, they were able to do that. When 2008 happened and these banks and Bear Stearns and Fannie Mae and all these things started going sour, okay, then the people who had the monies and were donating, they were losing money in the stock market. They were losing their jobs. They were losing their homes, okay? So now they needed help. And I remember looking on the news, and the food depository was telling us that the same people who had been their biggest donors of food and money were now standing in the line where the poor would stand, asking for alms. Now, been already put in, they should be able to take out. But many of those who lost everything couldn't go to the food depository. Why? Because, like I said earlier, how do you go down to the people who you feed and to ask them, can you feed me now? We're homeless. We're living out of our car. So what we try to do is we try to keep face. We try to still wear the nice clothes, okay? We still try to look high society, but when we leave your presence, many men cry. Yeah, it's very difficult for the helpers to ask for help. That's right. Many men, they cry. They weep. They gnash of teeth. They don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. They don't know how their woman's going to treat them. They don't even know how their children are going to treat them. They're afraid that their children don't look to them as a respectful man anymore. He's already been kicked out of the house because he had a disagreement with the woman that he had those babies with. So she kicked him out of the house, and then she made him feel that he was not worthy. And I'm not saying every house, but you never know how men feel. So many times when I hear women say that man don't come and see, don't call his children, he don't come and see, and right away I go into a defense mode for the man. See, I'm a divorced man, so I understand. I go into a defense mode on behalf of the man. And I ask her, now, how are you preparing the children in his absence? Do you encourage the children to reach out to him, or are you just waiting, sitting back, waiting on him to contact the kids? Usually the answer is waiting on him. These kids, as they're young, they don't understand. They don't understand because you didn't teach them the value of their father, in whom you call deadbeat in their presence. You're on the phone with him, cussing him out, calling him no good nigga in front of the kids. You even tell the kids they look like him. All right? So you point that in him, and then you never encourage the children to reach out to him. Why do I say this? Because that man is in a place where he feels abandoned, especially if over a period of time he hadn't talked to his kids. Men have a sense of complacency, and he is a creature of habit. And once you create this habit in him, or he created it, he continues in that habit. Men have tunnel vision. So they continue. That's why they haven't talked to the kids in so many years, because, well, I can't go back to that because I don't know how they're going to react to me. So there's a feeling of rejection. It hurts him. So to get rid of the chance of being hurt, it's a flight. Instead of the fight, it's a flight for him. So I asked the ladies, maybe you need to re-examine this, because if you really care about your children's future, you'd find ways to bring the connection back together. You kicked him out, so he's already hurt. He feels abandoned, all right? He might have left on his own. Still, abandonment, you don't know how a man's going to act upon that. So one man act one way, another man act another way. So he's gone. How do you reintroduce this man back into the life of the children? There's ways, because you find ways to get that house. You found ways to buy that car. You found ways to get that job. I mean, you found ways to get people to do stuff for you. You found all these clever ways, but you can't find a way to get these children back into the life of that man. Instead of just calling him a deadbeat person because he didn't pay up and he hadn't seen those children for a while. There's just got to be another way, because see, what's happening now with all the shooting and the killing among these young people is that they themselves now are feeling pain because the mother, where is she? I'm talking about physically. Where is she up here? Those kids feel abandoned. And then a lot of times the mother tried to make up for the absence of the father by trying to be the father and the mother. And every Father's Day, we hear the same story. I'm both daddy and mother. And whenever I hear that, I say, you a freak of nature then. Because there's no such thing as a daddy and a mama in the same body. It's impossible to be that. God made man, and then he put that boy to sleep, and out of his side he woven a woman. Okay, he woven a man. Woven man, that's woman, okay? And then those two, they come together. All right, and then they have children. So it is impossible for a man to be the mother of a child. It is impossible for a woman to be the man or the father of a child. Absolutely impossible. I don't care what laws that the government try and change and structure around all of this silliness, okay, which trying to find sexual identities. All of it is just confusion, okay? So we need to get that straight. When I divorced, when me and that my children's mother divorced. My son was about 8 years old, all right? It put him into a sense of pain. He was feeling pain because I remember I have this vision of my son in 1990, I don't know, 98 I think it is, when we finally severed. And I've heard this ripping sound. I've told this story before. Because when people are married, they become one, literally. God at the altar takes two people, all right? As soon as the preacher says something, it's almost like magic. Boom, they become one person, and they live this life. And God puts them together, and no man could pull them asunder. But then when something happens, when they separate, when that happened to me, I literally, in the spirit realm, I heard, when those divorce papers showed up, I heard a ripping sound, and it just put me into deep depression. I had never felt that way before. I've been depressed before, but never like that. Oh, it was hard for me to do anything. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't laugh, couldn't do nothing. I just was numb. I heard a ripping sound. Pain entered my body and in my spirit, man, my soul, after that divorce. And I looked at my children, both my children at the time, and I saw the disdain. I saw the hurt on their face because we're all at church, and now we all have to separate. We used to all go home at the same time, and I took my babies in. But this Sunday, because there's a separation, I'm walking away, and I see my son weeping. Where's Daddy going? And Mama saying he's not coming home with us tonight. There was a man-child in pain. So, day after day, pain sat in my son. The pain of the absence of his father. Sure, the phone call, that's fine. I can visit him, but it wasn't the same because Daddy wasn't in the house tucking him in at night. You see, and that had an lasting effect on him because fast forward years later, me and my son was talking, and he remembered all those steps. He remembered the pain of me not being able to be there. He understood the divorce, but he just could not understand why it had to happen. All right? So I told his mother that one day your son won't be that cute little boy anymore. He's 8, he's 9 right now. But when he gets a certain age, you will not be his precious mother and provider. You will be a threat to him. You're going to be another woman in his house. I need you to know this right now. I told her that because I know what I took my parents through. She said, okay, all right, whatever. When my son turned 14, I kept getting these phone calls from his mama. Please do something with this boy. I said, remember that conversation we had several years ago? Well, he done woke up. Here he is. You're not his precious mother anymore. You're this woman telling him what to do in his house. Now, he still loves you, but he's growing. All right? And so, I says, send him my way. I think it's time for me to have him. She says, whoo, thank you, Lord. She says, I didn't know how to tell you that, ask you that. Well, I felt it in my spirit. Send him here. And I went to Chicago and got him, and we moved to South Dakota. Now, while he was in my presence, my son had to learn how to be a man. Why? Because his mother could not father him. She did all she could to try to mimic a father, but all she was doing was being a woman or a mother trying to act like a man, and it wasn't working at all. So I had to show my son how to be a man. Even some of the things that she could have showed him, but because a woman was showing him, it didn't catch. I had to show him how to iron and press his shirts, I had to show him how to dry clean his suits and hang his clothes, okay, how to hang his clothes, all right? I had to show him how to do job applications, and when he got his job, I showed him what to do with that first paycheck. I went to the bank and opened up his first bank account, showed him how to endorse a check, okay? Those are things that his mother could have showed him, but a man was showing him that, all right? But the most important thing about a man that he saw was how I interacted with other women, number one. Number two, he saw how I interacted in business. You understand what I'm saying? He saw how I walked. And my son would watch, and I saw him watching me close, and he would emulate the way I walked. He'd begin to emulate the way I talked. And to this day, my son is in his mid-20s, okay? And he's doing the same thing that I'm doing. He's in the music business. He's in the industry. He writes songs. He's an engineer. He's a musician. He's all the stuff. He's everything that I am. Because I remember when he was about 6 years old, and when he was helping me pump gas in the car, he looked up at me with them big old beady eyes and said, "Daddy, when I grow up, I'm going to be just like you." And that messed me up. He was about 6 years old. Who'd have thought 2 years later we would separate? Okay? But here he is now. I talked to him today. I try to talk to him as many days as possible because we have that kind of relationship. And he'll hit me up and say, "Pops, what's going on? What you doing?" Hey, I'm doing what you doing. I'm making it rain, man. He's like, "I'm making it rain too." That's the relationship we have. And I know there's some pain there. He has his own separate pains. I know he does. And when he's in town, he tell me his pain. Why? Because we have an open communication. I make sure that all my children have the ability to talk to me about anything that they can. And I know there's some things they can't tell me because I'm their parent. All right? And so they have to maybe open up to someone else. We all do that. Because I couldn't talk to my parents about everything. I went next door and talked to Mr. Johnson about some things. And please don't tell my parent. I know my children that way too. But many of the things that other children won't tell their parents, my children tell me. And I find ways to get it out of them. And my children don't lie to me. I know y'all like, now I know that. No, my children, they rather not tell me nothing instead of lying to me. So they won't. And they've tested me on several times. I've tested them as well. I remember my daughter Rebecca did that to me. She's like, yeah, she was getting ready to lie. And she said, no, I can't do this, Dad. I'm not even going to lie. You're right. You know, because I know they don't, that's just not them. Okay? So they would rather just not tell me nothing than to lie to me. You've got to know your children. You have to. So the 5 things that men, where they hide their pain. Number 1, in their alcohol, that which intake. Okay? It could be food products, all right? But they hide it in that bottle. Number 2, they hide it in sex. They hide it in pornography. They might go out there and pick up some prostitutes or some of the ladies that are at their church or at their social club or at their job. They pick up these girls who are very promiscuous, who just sleep with anybody. So he says, you know what? That's where I'm gonna hide my pain. I'm gonna hide my pain in the seed, in my seed, and plant it in her. Okay? Because he's stressed, he's pressured, and his woman at home may not be taking care of that. And if you don't have a woman, okay, that's still a release. So he hides it in her, and that's number 2. Number 3, he hides it in entertainment, whether it's sports on TV or whether it is something that catches his eye. He'd rather watch that by himself. He don't want you interrupting him because that's his time of pain, and he expresses that. Number 4, he hides it in religion, and it might be his church. And he may manipulate you with some of this false teaching, okay, some of the false prophecies, this word of wisdom and word of knowledge, and some of the things that some of the ministers and preachers and these religious men, they hide their pain in it, and they go to church because that's their place of solace. They're not respected on their jobs, okay, and they're not respected at home. But guess what they respected the most? They respected at church because it's a glorifying place to be at church. Because at church, they're considered, they have these names: bishop, apostle, prophet, elder, pastor, teacher, okay, evangelist. They have these titles, and you have to put a respect on it at church. Monday through Saturday, though, they Johnny, Bob, Walter, Terrence, Larry, Michael. See, because in the army, they're generals, okay? They're soldiers. They're corporals, okay? Sergeants and all that stuff. But on the street, they just Billy. It don't feel good. They can't say, hey, you can't do that to another civilian. If it's a civilian like you, ain't over me. But when they go to church, it's glamorized. They feel important. At home, they're not respected. The children don't hold them in gravity. But the Bible says, he that desires the office of a bishop desires a good thing. And then it says that your children are supposed to respect you at home. Well, how are you going to try to look for respect at church? Okay? How you can't rule at home, okay, well, but you're going to go to church and try to rule the church. Why? Because it's a glamorous position to be when you got all of the harem, I guess you can say, saying, oh, bishop, pastor, evangelist, apostle, you are the greatest since sliced bread. And he's high and lifted up. And his train fills the temple. Then when he goes home to his woman and his children, he's looked to as lower than dirt. So he has to wait all week long to try to come out of this pain because he can't wait for Sunday or Bible study or something where he can get to a place where he's celebrated. I know I'm right because the police department is the same thing. They do the same thing. My brother Larry will tell this story on how he worked for Home Depot and he would go to these homes, these white neighborhoods, uppity, and he'd go into these middle class, upper class homes, and he would give them estimates on windows and what have you. And the father is a police officer or a state trooper or something like that. And when he's in the home, he sees how the state trooper is treated at home. He's treated like a little boy. The kids don't respect him. They don't even call him daddy. They call him Billy Bob. Billy Bob, I'm going out. Okay, the wife don't even respect him. So he feels like a stranger in his house until he puts his uniform on. He gets in his squad car, drives in the city, gets to the police station, and the commander sends him into the black neighborhood. When he gets to the black neighborhood, the fear of the neighbors, of the hood, he sees it. Like an animal, smells fear. And now he's empowered. He's respected. He's got weapons on both sides. He got an army of police behind him. And now it's a place of honor and respect. But at home, he's just Billy Bob. So he prefer his job on the street more so than he do at home. Because at home, he ain't respected. He ain't yet. But on the street, he's highly respected. They're afraid of him. The preacher can be the same way. He gets to church and he is honored he gets double honor. Oh my goodness. So he'd rather be there. But it's still a place where he hides his pain. Even to the place to the point of manipulating you with words and saying how much he loves his wife and she's the sugar in his coffee and the cream in his tea. Maybe I mixed that up. But she's all that. She is the white powder on his Dunkin' Donut. All these things. And she's sitting there like, You ain't say none of that last night when I was asking you for some attention. I asked you to pray with me, but you would rather have Sister Bobo call you. She asked for prayer, and you on the phone speaking in unknown tongues as the Spirit give utterance. Oh, sister, raise your hand. I can't see you on the other hand, but God says, get ready. Watch this. Yeah, lift your hands. I see double. I see triple coming. And then, wait, hold up. My wife is, yeah, baby. You want prayer? Not now, baby. Not now. I got a headache. Can I finish watching this show right here? Well, we'll pray later on. You see what I'm saying? He can't wait to get to the boat at the church. And all his deacon's board, his mother's board. All right? He can't wait to get there. But his wife, his woman at home, is begging for attention. Just pray. Can you not pray for 5 minutes with me? Not right now. Okay? He's in pain. He has dismissed her a long time ago. He's pain. But he goes to church and he expresses himself in different ways. He's emotional, not in the way that a woman is. And that's why women don't feel that men are emotional. But the girl next door who's getting ready to sleep with your man, she know how emotional he is because his emotion lies in his chest. It don't lie in his stomach, and it don't really lie in his penis. All right? That is a temporary emotion in his penis. Okay? Did I say temporary emotion in his... Did I say all that while doing that? I did. Right? His emotion lie right up here. And the girl next door, she know how to work on that chest. Y'all heard my little story about Mrs. Crabtree last week, okay? And when she gets to his emotional seat, he walking away from you. He gonna be like, put your mama on the phone. I'll wait. Baby, I ain't never coming home. She worked on his emotion. That thing that you used to do for him, you don't do it no more. Mrs. Crabtree do. She got him. And she'll have him as long as she can hold him. Yeah. Because he's in pain, and she is his medicinal. I have seen this all my life. I was married to it. Mother Bernice Williams. There's y'all's testimony right there. Mother Bernice is saying that. When a man is rejected, when does he decide to start healing? Marva Williams, great question. When a man is rejected, when does he start, when does he decide? He decides right away. But does he take action? No. How hard is it to get your man to get to the doctor? Difficult. He don't want to go. Even if it's just a dentist appointment. He don't like pain. He don't like it. And the only pain that man really likes is when he know that on the other end of that pain is going to be pleasure, much pleasure. For instance, I know people who smoke or drink for the first, and they, but see, they see how happy it appears that these other smokers are. So they'll go through the pain of the body rejecting this strange object so that they can get to the pleasure part. Yeah, so the rejection, he hates it. So when does he decide the healing? He wants the healing right now, and that's why he fusses the way he do at you. He wants the healing to happen right now, and he's trying to get you to see it. And when you trigger some things, he don't know what to do with it, and so this anger, like God says, my fury is hitting me in the face. They used to make God so mad in the Old Testament that the smoke, he said, the fury and hit me in my face. I was so upset at these Hebrews. Okay, well that's what men feel. You in the room and you say the wrong thing, and it's like his fury, and he reacts in different ways. That's why I couldn't stand the movie Fences. Oh, Fences, see. I hadn't seen the movie yet, Mother, but I plan on doing the DVD thing. But it's just a replay of the old Fences. Let's see. Hey, what are you saying here, Shia? How does the wife fix it? Yeah. How does the wife fix it? Oh, man. Well, remember, you may have came a little later, okay? That's Aisha, isn't it? Yeah. The wife must be receptive spiritually, because naturally, apparently, she don't have it. She just don't have it. She don't, or she wouldn't be having these problems. So she needs to tap into the spirit. She needs to have a relationship with God. She needs to have a relationship. See, when the Holy Spirit comes, it don't come just to cause y'all to speak in tongues. I got it. Now it's like a disease. I got it. Well, now you're going to have the junkie itch. Okay? The Holy Spirit is a gentleman. It's not an it. It's a him. It's a gentleman. And it's there to not just cause you to spit. Okay? And it's not just there to give you keeping power. All right? You can be kept without it. Meaning, I know some people who are sinners out there who don't cheat on their husbands. They don't cheat on their taxes, and they're law-abiding citizens, but they don't like God at all. So y'all say the Holy Ghost is here as a keeping power. Well, these sinners out there, they're kept too by their own understanding of decency. So, the Holy Spirit is in her to show her and lead her to what is called truth. Truth, all right? Then when the Holy Spirit enters her, then the Holy Spirit pass out one of the things called gifts. One of those gifts is the gift of the discerning of spirits. And if you actually tie in to a man and y'all become one flesh, wouldn't his itch make you scratch? I can't get it. I just don't understand it. When I was married and we were having problems, I still felt her pain, even though I began not to like her, because we still was one. So I can understand the concept of being married and not feeling the pain, whether it's mentally, spiritually, morally, physically, all this stuff, all right? So she's tapped into him. Now, what's she going to do with it? Well, sometimes we let the world enter into us and persuade us to go after this man in certain ways. We start throwing things at him, and a lot of times you know it's going to cause him to react negatively. That's why these judges nowadays in divorce court and all these other courts and small claims court, what have you, they ask the woman, okay, you said he beat you. And he asked, what did you do to cause him to beat you? Well, let me see now. I did this, and then he did that. Oh, really? Well, I tell you what. I'm going to still punish him, but I'm going to have to do something with you, too, by not giving you what you're asking for. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Well, because even the Bible alludes to that. When you cause a person to stumble, God holds you guilty, just as guilty as the person who stumbled. You caused it. Absolutely. And it's in the laws. You become an accessory to the crime. And it's also in the law of God. It's a decency clause, I guess you can call it. So you have to look back, think. Bernice Williams said she needs wisdom. This woman needs wisdom, and examine the man she is one with and say, you know what? When I do this, he does this. When the wind blows this way, he does this. When the noise is at 440 hertz, he does this. You have examined that stuff, but what you've done, though, is you use it against him. You use it against him, and you know that. So what you're doing is you're doing the same thing. Y'all know what insanity is. You keep doing that same thing, thinking a different thing is going to happen because you're trying to teach him a lesson, and you got to have you're a teacher. A lot of times, ladies, you're teachers in your own rights, and you keep trying to teach this man a lesson. Oh, I'm going to get him. I'm going to make sure he gets this lesson. But you're really doing yourself disjustice when you're trying to teach him a lesson, because he'll never really see the lesson you're trying to teach, not in the way you're teaching it. And so the grace of God must ride up in you. Jesus Christ talked about agree with your adversary. How? Quickly. Now, I'm not calling your husband your adversary, but some y'all act like it in your house. Agree with him. He's not saying agree with everybody who's a sinner, who's trying to manipulate. That's not what he says. You got to be careful of that. You've got to be into him. Come on, Mother Bernice is teaching this with me. It's called intimacy. Intimacy. The intimacy is not just your relationship with the man. Intimacy is, I love how Jake said it, in to me. See, that's what intimacy is, okay? Both of you are together, but whether he's with you or not, there is an intimacy in you automatically. That's why I don't like when people say, you've made me whole. Well, you should have been whole before we came together. I don't want a freak of nature. I don't want a half woman. You can't be half pregnant, all right? So, in to me, see. That's what he should always see in you, is the intimate. Even when you're correcting him, there's a way to correct him because you know your man. The Bible talks about, know them that labor among you. Because if you know them that labor among you, you'll know how to live peaceably with them. Even when it talked about how kings and potentates and presidents and all this stuff, the Bible even says, how do we live with them? We pray for them so that we might lead a peaceable life, even with those who have the power to come in here with bulldozers, stamp eminent domain on the papers and take your house and raise your taxes. They got the power to do that. But as long as we're praying for them and speak softly, because we are a different nation than them. We live in America, but we're a different nation. We who are sons and daughters of Christ, we are the body of Christ. We are a nation within a nation. You got to always remember that. And so, because we're a nation within a nation, that nation outside of us supposed to be running to us for counsel and help and prayer and fasting and intercession. They're supposed to come to us for that. But we're going to them for the help. And it's not the way it was God designed it. And that's not the way my grandparents came up, because Christians were considered the people that you didn't mess with. You didn't tease them. You walked in front of their buildings, their sanctuaries, and you didn't cuss. You didn't pitch pennies. You did. Drunks wouldn't. He would take his bottle and hide it in that brown paper bag and put it in here and walk past the church. And when he walked past the church, then he took his bottle out and drank it. Why? Because America knew how much power the church had. They were afraid. Now, not so much. They do everything in front of your churches because they see you do it. Then they come in your church and do it. That was a no-no. They used to respect our church houses, and they respected our homes. You who are Christians, they respected you. But now they see how y'all acting within each other, within the body. They're like, oh, then they act just like us. So why respect y'all? Doesn't make any sense. I saw this picture. What are you saying, lady? Because men will still try to make a woman seem like she's crazy and have her second guessing herself when she knows in her spirit the truth, but something in her wants to believe in him. Yeah, you're right. You are so right. I'm trying to tell y'all, this message here will not sit right with many women because they feel that it could come off to be male chauvinistic. Guess what? I don't care, because that's why their relationship ain't working out in their homes. It's still going to be a mess, because to be able to hear a man talk about what a man do, not understanding why that won't sit right with some of the ladies when it's a man telling you what men feel. See, if I was telling you how women feel, then you should turn this off, okay? But when I get invited to these question and answer places, these little men's panels, they call them, where the women, there's mostly women in the audience, and they put the men on the panel, and the women always ask the same questions. They all recycled questions that they asked last month, and the month before that, and the month before that. Same questions, they're repackaged, okay? And they ask these same men on the panel, or they got different men on the panel, and they ask these men, and the men give what they feel is their truth about men. And what did the women in the audience say? We don't believe it. So, a man who writes these books, act like a man, think like a, what is it? Act like a woman, think like a man, or something like that. Woman thou art loose, and men are old Pauls, and men this and men that. All these books that keep coming out year after year after year, making all these sales and money. Well, guess why we keep have to write these books? Because you won't believe it. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And then he wrote another one. Okay? And then he wrote another one. It don't matter. They're going to continue to write these books and make a killing. Why? You won't believe it. So, then you get a certain age, now you have these babies, and your daughter's growing up, and guess what? They don't believe it. But a man is sitting here telling you his truth. You're like, I don't believe it. Yeah, thank you, Takor. Act like a lady. Think like a man. Mm-hmm. And then he came out with another one. No chaser, or stirred, no chaser, or something like that. Steve Harvey. Sold like crazy. And guess what? You don't believe it. You say, oh man, this is great. I'm gonna help my relationship by reading this stuff, and then you get to your man and you don't apply it. He's telling you what a man is. And I think Maya Angelou said it best. Y'all always repeat it. When a man show you who he is, believe him. But you don't believe it. You don't believe it. Okay? So, Aisha, ask God for help. All the counselors in the world can't help you. Except God help you. Okay? God can help you. And then he can use these men and women of God. And he dropped his vision, this wisdom into them. If these men and women of God would just, of course, obey the Lord, he dropped the wisdom in them, and then they could show you a more perfect way. All right? That's how God gets his message. He gets it through to you through prayer, through fasting, and asking God. And then he speaks to the men and women of God. Thank you, Tikor, straight talk and no chaser. He speaks to them because how can you hear? Except that's what Scripture is saying. You have to go to the book of Romans. Okay? There's a pecking order. You don't hear the word. So I don't hear the word. So God sends the preacher. And the preacher could be both male and female. I ain't that kind of guy to make it exclusive male. That's ridiculous. Okay? Because the Apostle Paul had women who were they were evangelists, okay? They were the ones who were linking up with him, and he was sending them out, and he said, welcome Phoebe, and welcome this person, okay? These were women, and some of them were hooking up with their husbands. Aquila and Priscilla showed this one guy, Apollos, a more perfect way. So how do God speak? Through these people. That's how he does it. And you have to take their advice and listen to them. And if it seems like it is bad advice, well, that means the Spirit is working in you, because it just smelled like a rat. Come on. All right? Okay. I think I've been on here long enough. All right? If you got any more questions, you put it there, and I will answer it. I might even make it a whole show out of it. So where do men hide their pain? They hide it in liquor, number one. Number two, they hide it in pornography or the flesh of women. Number three, they hide it in entertainment. It could be bowling, it could be sports, it could be something like that. Number four, they hide it in religion, okay? And number five, they hide it in confrontations and fights. It's obvious that that's where they hide it, okay? And how do you help them, ladies? You have to come together and pray for them, and talk to their chest. All right, that's where not only their pride lies, but that's where their joy is in their chest. And you speak to that, not in a manipulative way. Don't lie to him. Tell him the truth, but give it to him like you do others who you're trying to help, but you know how to use compassion and bridling your tongue. Okay, it's called honey. You use honey. You might use some sugar. It's called grace. And Jesus continued to talk about it. Matter of fact, the book of James is a wonderful book about the tongue. It is an unruling evil. I mean, it's gosh, who knows this tongue? So it talks about what to do with the tongue. Your tongue is what causes men to start world wars. The tongue does it. And most times when a man is fighting in some type of war within himself or with someone else, a lot of times it's because of a woman. A woman. He's doing it to protect a woman, or he's doing it to get to a woman. You're always involved somehow. Okay? And so you know how to get that man's attention. There is a way. And you know the way. You just use it for the evil instead of the good. And God's going to get you. You raise up these men. And that's why I had this plea on Facebook. I told the ladies to lift these black men up on Facebook. Stop putting up posts about negativity, about how he ain't paying child support, he ain't no good, why men are dogs, and all this. No, erase all that stuff, throw it in the garbage, and start putting up Facebook posts about the power of black men and how they build and they produce things and how they're good men, they're good fathers, okay? They are the movers and the shakers. They are prayer warriors and intercessors, and they're the ones, okay, who are lifting up their children and the women, and they're the ones that make their queens and princesses proud, okay, and things like that. When men see those type of posts, two things happen, especially this one thing. This one thing that happens is that if he's inadequate, he begins to get on the straight and narrow because he sees his black sisters lifting him up. Even if you didn't call his name out, he's still going to look at that as an exclusive all black man, and he's like, wow, you know what? I'm a drunk. I watch porn. I'm into all this sports and religion and fighting and all this stuff. And I see these wonderful posts. I turn on my computer and all these positive posts. Oh, my God. You know what? I need to do something. The law of attraction, Lady Rochelle is saying, I need to do something about this so that I can be pleasing to the woman that I'm living with. My daughter, I want to be pleasing to her. I can do this when they see that. But when they see the negativity on Facebook, they say, better black woman. That's why I'm going after these white women. These white women. White women treat us better. That's what they're saying in their minds. And they say it to y'all by chasing after the white woman. They treat us better. They're more sincere. They're more submissive. They'll do anything, I say. That's the way a lot of these black men feel. Because they see how you act, they see your post, and then you say, every time I act compassionate or show some kind of passion, you call it bitter. Well, how are you helping him out? How are you helping him decide that that ain't bitterness, but that it is just compassion? Because if you watched the show yesterday, the white women act just like y'all. She just do it in a different way. Yeah, she find ways. Marvin says, talk to his chest. What exactly do you mean? Marvin, I can't do that right now. Yeah, I've been on here for an hour and 18 minutes. Real quick, you got to go up. I did this. I talked about this earlier in the show. I don't know when you tuned in, but you have to show more compassion and more grace. Marvin, except he be this horny little toad that he can't stop messing around, that's different. He's got a spirit that needs to be cast out. All right, I'm not talking about that man per se, except he's just unruly. He hates you and hates God. Okay, I'm not so much talking about them because they need some extra help, some extra intervention. But I'm talking about this usual, regular guy who goes out there to work or what have you. You can talk to him, you can move him, and you ask God to help you. You can talk to his chest. And what's in his chest? What lies in there? It ain't just food, because if anybody can cook for him, he can cook for himself. But it's how you make him feel. You find out what is his love language, right? Go on there, y'all. Y'all ignore me and her. We just talking here. The 5 love languages is probably one of the greatest things that we have, at least in this, I don't know, in the last 10 years, is one of the great things that we have to help us understand each other. And I thank God for Gary Chapman, okay? Gary Chapman is a great friend of mine. Yes, he is. Gary Chapman and Kevin Leman. You get those 2 books, and I'm not saying act like a man, think like a lady, and no chaser and all that stuff, not helping you, because apparently it ain't helping a lot of y'all, because you're still having problems with your. So me, when I do shows, I go into the psychological aspects of things. I go to the beginning, not here's surface. I take you back to the beginning and show you why a man do what he do. Okay, so one book is called The Birth Order Book. Why You Are the Way You Are by Kevin Leman. All right, I did that show. Go on Facebook and type in The Birth Order, Sir Walter Jones. I already did that show, and it will help you understand the man that you're with. Where is he in his family? Is he the only child? Is he the firstborn? Is he the middle child? Is he the baby child? What's his relationship with his siblings? And what is his relationship with his parents? That will help you understand the character of that man, and then you would know how to find his chest. That's number 1. The second book is The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and that book's talk about 5. I got Wikipedia here. The first one is gift giving. Does he like to receive or give? Okay, it's on the receiving end or the giving end, okay? It's gift giving, okay? Is that his love language? Number 2, quality time. Is that his love language? And many times men don't not really into that quality time. Maybe not with you, maybe with something else, okay? But maybe not with you. You say, well, maybe it was somebody else. Well, if it was somebody else, then that means he still want quality time. If it was someone else. It's just not with you, okay? You still want it, so that might be something that he needs, but how you give it to him, okay? So he don't like to be pushed into something, or that may not be his language. So, number 2, quality time. Is that what your man is all about? Then find a way to tickle that part in him. Number 3, words of affirmation. Many men love that, but there's some men who are very humble. They don't know how to deal with that. I like words of affirmation, to be honest with you. I thrive on it. It helps me to produce these type of shows, okay? So that's one thing that stands towards the top in me, is words of affirmation. Not because I need it to make me feel powerful, okay? And I don't go into rooms and say, hey, y'all ain't recognizing me. No. I like it to be organic. I like it to be volunteer. I don't like for it to be pushed or shoved or none of that. No, then I reject it. So the words of affirmation, number 4, acts of service. Acts of service or devotion. Okay, that's number 4. Of course, number 5 is the physical touch. All right, right here, physical touch. All right, that's me. Touchy, feely. I'm always working the room. I'm embracing people, hugging people, what have you. That's me. And I'm a politician in a sense. I like body contact. That's me, and I ain't trying to get in your underwear either. I just like body contact, okay? But if I'm with my lover, all right, then of course, it's all about touching. It's about kissing. It's about that is my outward expression to how I feel inside, all right? So the physical touch might be mine. Your man may not be about physical touch. Okay, because I've talked to women and wives who say, my husband don't touch me. Well, but that ain't his language. His language might be words of affirmation, but you don't give him that. So Mrs. Crabtree do. Okay, all right. Men hide their pain in their socks. Okay, Sierra. They probably do hide it in them socks. Nikes, okay, dress socks, I don't know. Maybe they do. Shut up, Sierra. My daughter, y'all. She might be right. Okay? All right, so get those 2 books. I met Dr. Kevin Lehman, and he nailed it. He looked at me and says, "You're the middle child." I said, "Man, and you're a prophet." Okay? Get this book. It will change your life, all right? At least your relationship with your man. All right, I'm hungry, y'all. I ain't ate nothing, and Melissa is going to be upset hearing that because she always tells me to eat, and I'll be forgetting because I'm overworked. God, I thank you for your presence and your blessings. The things you've done for us is just amazing. You're truly, truly amazing. God, I thank you for giving us the wisdom to do what we do. We put ourselves aside. We hide ourselves in you so that the people might see the light that shines through us, the evidence that's in us, God, the illumination that is in us. Help us, God. Please help us. We beg for you to come into our lives and help us with our relationships. We don't know each other, but you do. You created us. You made us in your image and your likeness, and because you did this, only you know what to say, how to help us. And so we ask that you do that for us so that our children can see what you've done, and they will worship you without us doing this. They will worship you because they will see the God in us. So help us, God, and we shall be helped. Heal our hearts. There are men out there who are struggling. They are hurting. They're in so much pain, and they don't know what to say, how to say it. They don't know how to return to their children. So God, I remember reading in the book of Malachi, your word is sharp. It cuts through the marrow and the bone, sharper than any two-edged sword, rightly dividing. And you said in Malachi chapter 4, "Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments." And you began to say further, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." And you finally said in Malachi 4 and 6, "And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." Help us to return to our children, that our children can return back to their fathers and make us a powerful and compassionate nation again. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank God and amen. Amen and amen. All right. Thank you. Hey, Loretta. So good to see you here. Always great to see you. God bless your vessel with endurance and more spiritual insight as he searches the scriptures to empower your people. Amen, Melissa. Thank you so much. Joyce Graham, we missed you. We missed you. You know you got to be kind and rewind, right? That's the word. Amen. Lamaria, amen. Good night. All blessings to you. Awesome teacher. Lamara, you know I love you and your whole family. Okay. All right. And Sierra, well, I'm praying for you. Okay. All right. Blessings to you guys. We'll do some, maybe, did I do an evening manna at all late? I don't remember doing an evening, gosh, I don't know. I guess I don't evening manna out. All right, we'll try to do one this weekend. Evening manna. I usually try to do them on Friday and Saturday and Sunday nights, so let's bring that back up. All right, pray for me. I got a lot of teaching to do this weekend. I've got to preach a couple times. I got to preach at my church, and then, again, Bible study. So, pray for me. And yes, I passed my test. Okay, so those of you who were asking, thank you. I passed my life test and I passed my health test. I got the papers to prove it. So we're on our way to help some families build generational wealth. All right. Oh, the Mary Tyler Moore tribute. You saw that on YouTube? Yeah, one of my favorites. Y'all go to YouTube and type Mary Tyler Moore tribute, Sir Walter Jones. It ain't but 6 minutes long, but it's one of my favorites. All right. Love you guys. Peace. Thank you, Nicole. Good night to you.